JD here, and as you can see, we are back on iRacing once again here today, and I really hope you all had a wonderful Christmas and a very happy New Year. And I'm very excited to get back into racing, and today's track is Mount Panorama, aka Bathurst. One of my favorite tracks that I've ever driven in the past on other racing games such as Forza, TOCA Race Driver. It's a track I do actually know quite well, but never driven it in this car. And you can see here straight away, we've actually finally adjusted our field of view to a definitely more correct one than it was in the past. I've also adjusted my brakes to make them quite a bit stiff as well, so you'll notice that from the braking input. So as always, if you do enjoy these videos, please make sure you like the video itself. Let me know what you want to see next, and thank you so much for the support on the channel. And also thank you very much to Joey here. Many of you guys have been recognizing me in these obbies, and I can't always actually type back because my keyboard isn't always within the vicinity of my racing wheel, but I appreciate you all, and yeah, thank you so much. So big shout out to Joey here. But yeah, this track here I did a fair amount of practice, but you will see coming through here we actually did this okay. So the first lap itself, you only get 2 flying laps in the qualifying, but if you do get an off track, it will be invalidated. And coming through here, just carrying a bit too much speed through that last corner, and because the lap is so long, I'm not gonna have time to do another valid lap. And yeah, this track is about a 2-minute 7.8 if you're a pretty fast driver. I was doing 2-minute 8s at low 0.8s in the practice and everything as well, and yeah, we're not gonna have time to do a qualifying lap itself. So I went back out just to really get myself warmed up for the race, because we now have to start from the back of the grid as well. And coming through into here, we did the same thing again, just carrying a bit too much of apex speed. But this is the entire race, so please let me know if you want to see the full race or not. But as we've got the 4 lights here and waiting for it to go out now, playing it nice and cautiously, actually it's probably a good thing that we didn't start in the midfield if we had a poor lap, because it is absolute chaos. So right here you can also see in the bottom right, I've actually been promoted into Class C, so I will be doing some Formula 3 races in the future. You notice my rating has actually dropped a little bit. Main reason for that is that I just really wanted to get out of the D class so I could unlock the F3 cars, or the Formula C cars as it's now called. So I've been playing it quite easy, qualifying at the back in quite a few of the races, and just trying to keep it as clean as possible, because that's what actually promotes you through the licenses. It's not your I rating, it's your safety rating, and you have to achieve a high one each time. So trying to avoid damage at all costs, any bit of contact, any off tracks, even if you lose control of the car, that actually affects your I rating as well. So you really do need to be as squeaky clean as you possibly can. So you can see on this first lap we were just a bit cautious, just letting everyone go, and since the lap is so long again, we're probably only going to get about 9 laps of this race itself, and this section here is absolutely terrifying. And you know, this is a real track. Every track on here is real. I think there's only one track in iRacing, I think it's called the official iRacing circuit or something like that, that's actually made up. But every other track on this game, or every track, is completely real, and this is laser scanned as well. So what you're seeing here is exactly the dimensions of what it is in real life. And you know, driving this track in the F4 car is just absolutely nuts. Going through that section, there is absolutely no room for error. And now Monaco, obviously we have the walls there, but this track is just so fast as well. It is absolutely terrifying, and with this field of view it just feels so much more immersive now as well. As we're making up one position here, this guy gets a little bump or shove out wide, but I really do prefer this field of view. A lot of people were hassling me to change it, and I have actually used the field of view calculator, which is within the iRacing game itself. So you plug in how far away you are from the monitor the screen you're using as well as we're avoiding 2 cars going out there. So picking up some positions quite nicely on this first lap. But yeah, the field of view I had before was just way too far out previously, and this one here, I just feel, combined with the direct drive wheel, it just feels so immersive. And I've also, as I said, I actually have changed my brakes, so I've increased the brake force of the Fanatec. I was running fairly low actually, which has worked quite well for me on the F1 games, but on this game here, speaking to many professional drivers as well on iRacing itself, they have recommended to make it as difficult as possible to brake, because you don't really want to be using 100% of the brakes all too often on this game. And again, as always, please, anything you want to write down below to criticize, or any hopefully constructive criticism, but anything to tell me to enhance the experience even more, I'm very, very grateful for. And I just really hope you've been enjoying this as well, because I kind of get the feeling that everyone right now is just jumping on this game because they're kind of a bit fed up with the F1 22 game at the moment. I think everyone is taking a stab at this, which I don't blame them, because the online experience here, it really is second to none. I think that's what Assetto Corsa is kind of missing right now. I will be trying the LFM leads, which a lot of people have recommended as well, but yeah, for now I'm just really enjoying myself in here, and can't wait to be doing some F3 races as another guy has dropped off, so that's another position gained. But yeah, the F3 car is probably my favourite car to drive on this game itself. It's very different to the F4, as someone else has dropped off as well, so they're dropping like flies right now, and that's kind of why it's actually sometimes good to start from the back. If you're new to this game and you're not particularly confident in the pace, then again, it's not about your I rating, it's about your safety rating. The more higher of the safety rating you have, the further up the licensing you go, the more access to different cars and different parts of the game you get, and it really does most of the time promote clean driving, which is very, very good to see. And I think something maybe the official F1 games could adopt a bit better and create a bit more of an incentive to be clean, because the open lobbies on there are pretty chaotic to say the least itself. But you can see we've made up quite a few positions, so we're actually up into the top 10 already. So slow and steady sometimes is the approach you want to be. And yeah, going through this section here, it is, luckily I did know the layout of this track fairly well, but it's absolutely terrifying going through this section here. And the forces I'm getting through the wheel, it looks like this guy in the red car's got a bit of damage, so yeah, clearly he's got a huge amount of damage, and we managed to pick him off. But yeah, with the force feedback and the field of view now being a lot more correct, hopefully, it just gives you a whole sense of immersion that wasn't there before. So yeah, definitely get your field of view done right. And yeah, I have to say this game has just been an absolute joy to play so far. But I will be returning to F1 22 lobbies. Haven't given up on F1 entirely, so I will still be doing lobbies on there. I might even be doing a co-op career mode. So if you want me to, let me know what you want me to do. Do you want me to do my team? Do you want me to do a co-op career? League Racing will be returning this month as well, so we still will be doing the live streams on there. But yeah, I think everyone, not just myself, is kind of having a nice time playing something different. I think that says a lot about the game. And you know, I made many videos on this now, so I won't be beating a dead horse or anything, but hopefully that gives Codemasters and EA now the incentive to make a much more polished game, because the potential is there, the viewership is there 100%, and the finance is there as well. Hopefully they use it to the best of their ability. But yeah, coming through to here, just the forces I was getting through the wheel was just absolutely incredible. You can see it on the webcam down below that every single bump is being felt through that wheel, and that's where the direct drive wheels themselves may be worth the money is when you're playing iRacing, R Factor, Automobilista, Assetto Corsa, games such as that. That's where I think if you're a sim racing enthusiast or you want to get to your absolute potential, then I would say this is where it's probably worth it. And also the brake force, as I was discussing earlier, that's something I've actually increased. So you could, if you watch my brake inputs going around the lap, they're a lot more smooth now. Before they were very up and down and very spiky, as someone described in one of my videos before. And you can see it's just a lot smoother in terms of the release. So it's much harder to push, but your muscle memory is usually more consistent about by the force that you're applying, not by the distance itself. And before, it was just far too easy to apply it to 100%, which meant I was locking up quite a lot, but also meant that I was actually killing the momentum a bit too much, and also just dragging my foot on the brake quite a bit as well. So with this high input, you can see go through to here, it doesn't really go up and down too much. It's just a lot smoother coming off it. I'm not dragging the brake anymore as well, and I will be doing probably a video on this as well, but I felt, well, I've already proved it to myself, it's actually gained me quite a lot of lap time. Up to around this track, it gained me about 1.5 seconds just by having the brakes set up correctly. Because a lot of the iRacing professional drivers, they have 90 plus kg force in terms of the brake application itself. But you can see in this race now, we're up into P8, kind of just following this guy up ahead through. So I felt like he was probably maybe a little bit faster than me. The setups are fixed as well, so everyone is running exactly the same thing. I don't think it's anything you can change. This guy's gone off into the wall, so we're going to pick him off as well. And it's coming up through this left-hander, so coming through into here, it is so easy to carry a bit too much minimum speed through the corner. As you saw in my qualifying laps, if you carry too much apex speed, you will be punished in this car, and that's what I was very wary of coming through that left-hander. But the problem is, since I'm slow for that left-hander, you're pretty much flat out for the next 20 to 30 seconds, and that really harms you coming through into this section. But coming through here, I felt that this was probably my best sector of the lap. So coming through to here, this right, and then going through this left, turning as early as you dare, go through here, but go through this part, this is where I was actually quite strong. And then coming onto the straight, really important here, not getting it too well, but really aggressive on the throttle. But luckily, the slipstream gap, or the time, so if you're within a second, you actually do pick up quite a nice slipstream from the car up ahead. So we're still within that realm, and you can see we're actually closing in. So we're just basically being towed along by this guy here, and you also see that we're actually closing in on the cars up ahead. So at the moment, we started to think P18 up into P6 or P7 right now is not bad progress, and I don't think we've got any incident points or anything at all. So the I rating is going to go up. You can also see the, the safety rating, but you can also see the I rating itself got a little bit wide here. The guy behind also seems to be quite fast. He's just going to poke his nose down this inside. Is he going to go for it? No, he doesn't. And really important that we get a good exit come off here now, which we do actually get a fairly good exit. So we're still within the slipstream of this guy up ahead. And shout out to Arsenal tonight, hence why I'm wearing the Arsenal shirt. They do play a very important match in the Premier League, if you're wondering why I am wearing this t-shirt. So hashtag Guna itself. But coming through to here, really enjoyed this corner. So I'm also quite strong through here. But again, it's coming up through this left-hander, so this uphill left. I want to be very smooth on the brakes. Not doing it too much, but just not confident in carrying the minimum speed. And you can see the guy behind me is a lot more confident in carrying that speed. But we are still just about within the slipstream zone. And it's crucial that we get this next section correct, because we need to stay in that slipstream coming down this main straight itself. So come through here, it's completely flat out, which if you were in a real car and go through this section here, I don't know if I could actually do this. It would be absolutely incredible. Come through here, turn as early as you dare, and again we get a really good launch. So coming through this section, we're definitely much faster than the car up ahead. We need to get a really good exit coming off here now, so try and keep it as tight as you can, and this time we get a fairly good exit, almost running into the wall on the exit, but you can see the gap. We're still within a second. The guy behind looks like he's made a little bit of an error, so that's kind of relieved the pressure from behind. And you can also see, if you look on the bottom right of the screen, and just visually as well, we're actually catching some cars up ahead. So we're in P7, and the fight for P5 is well and truly on right now. And you can see the lap times we're doing are pretty competitive. The two leaders are very, very fast themselves, so they're in the 7s. But as we're going across the line, let's see what lap time we're going to do here. So if we look down at the steering wheel, that was an 8.2. My PB by myself is an 8.0, which I did in practice, but yeah, an 8.2 for race pace is actually fairly competitive. And looks like the guy behind has made a bit of a mistake, which is definitely what I needed. So now I don't have to look behind. I can actually just focus ahead, because he's out of the DRS, or the slipstream now. He's not really going to be a factor in this race unless we make a mistake. So I'm just going to stay behind this guy and use him to close in on the guy up ahead. So engineer telling me we've got 5 laps of fuel left, and coming through here, let's see if we can get a bit of a better exit coming off this left-hander. And you can see again, just I think either just not enough minimum speed or just not early enough on the power. And you can see he is carrying that momentum all through this section. But it means we're going to have to work a little bit harder through this one. So we're going to have to take a few more risks coming through this downhill section, which is my best sector, but it's so easy to lose the car coming through here. It took me quite a bit of practice to get used to this. So coming through this left-hander, turn earlier than you think, and get a pretty good exit. So that's really how we should be attacking the first part of the lap. Let's see, do we get a good exit? So make sure you stay nice and tight, get on the power, and that was a fairly good exit. So again, we're going to stay well within the slipstream zone. The guy behind has fell back just that little bit more as well. And you can see it's actually not just one car, but there's also another car up ahead. So this is actually the fight for, I would say, P4 in this race, if I can actually read my screen correctly itself. So coming through here, looking at the 100 meter ball, so bouncing on the rev limiter. So this car doesn't have 7 gears, if you're wondering, only has 6. Now coming through into here, so go through that left-hander and that right. That's actually one of my best corners as well. Looks like it was actually a car going to the pits, or maybe he's got damage or something like that, which we'll be able to see in a second here. We're coming across the line, we've got this other car up ahead, so come through here, just break it before the 50, really focusing on just getting a good exit. So right now I'm just making sure I'm still within that slipstream zone. That's really what I'm thinking about right here now. And now when you're in this position, because I'm still learning the game itself, it's just about taking the points. So the leaders are well and truly gone, but if we can maybe get one of these cars up ahead, or even both, but always trying to make sure you don't get damaged, you don't have an incident or anything at all, because it's the I rating and the safety rating in particular is very, very important, and it's quite easy to lose. So the higher the I rating you are, the easier it is to lose that rating itself, and because the competition is always getting a little bit harder, you're rated more highly than the other people in the lobby. Because for me, I think I was rated like the 10th highest I rating in this lobby itself. So if you finish your 10th, then you'd pretty much be not losing any I rating, but anything below that, and then you will be losing it. So the higher you are, the more pressure you have on actually delivering itself. And speaking of pressure, got to make sure we're within this gap here. So really focusing on getting a good exit coming off this one, and that was actually a pretty good launch coming off this one here. So using all of that momentum, and we're still within the slipstream zone, and looks like he's actually got a pretty good run on the car up ahead himself. So again, we're just going to try and follow him through and avoid damage at absolute all costs. And yeah, this track is absolutely insane. I presume they do actual F3 around here, because if they do, it must be one of the best tracks in the world to drive itself. And Kofi's here now. He's going to have to slipstream on the car up ahead, so we're just going to be nice and patient, not take any risks or anything whatsoever. The lap time here is an 8.1. So that's actually our fastest lap of the race itself. So about lapping, I'd say, the 4th fastest car on track. The black car ahead of this one is probably the 3rd fastest car on track here. So if we could beat this red car, this pink and blue car, whatever colour scheme he's got here, then that would be absolutely perfect. I would say that's a perfect race in my book. But coming towards the end here now, it's a very, very fast corner. And as we come into it, he's actually lost control of the car, and then we go into the barrier. And yeah, that's how quickly your race can be over. And there was absolutely nothing we could do here. Looking at the webcam, that's the devastating thing about iRacing. You can spend 20 minutes and your race is over. The I rating has dropped. The safety rating should be affected too badly because it's by the number of incidents you have, not just the one-off incident itself. So you can see here we had to go back to the pits and wait 2.5 minutes because it was simulating a tow truck dragging us back to the pits. But it's very important to finish the race in iRacing, even if you're in last. If you just leave, then that's really going to affect your safety rating quite badly. And you could actually be relegated to a lower license. So as painful as that was, we decided to continue with the race itself. Absolutely nothing we could do there, unfortunately. But yeah, it is what it is. But I'm very, very happy with my progress on iRacing itself. Next one or next video will probably be an F3 video because that is definitely by far my favourite car to drive on this game. But thank you so much for the support on the videos. I really do hope you had a great Christmas and a new year. Please let me know what you want to see next. Please like the video if you did enjoy this, and I'll be catching you very, very soon.